Hi everyone, it's Blake again with North Winds Wilderness School. Welcome back to another installment of our little video experiment that we've been doing here. I'm coming to you from late summer here at the home of North Winds Wilderness School in Siren, Wisconsin. And you may notice, if you look down here, a bright orange mushroom. I'm guessing some of you have seen this before. This is the chicken of the woods. This is one of the most popular mushrooms to forage. It's one of the most delicious mushrooms to forage. It's also a very, very versatile foodstuff. You can fry this thing in butter and garlic and just eat it as it is. You can cook it in soups. You can cook it in a pressure cooker. What we like to do is dry it and then grind it up and use it in soups and sauces. And we also like to make jerky out of it. I'm going to talk to you about two things today. The first thing I'm going to talk to you about is how to find and identify this mushroom. The second thing we're going to talk about is how to make chicken of the woods jerky. So this is the chicken of the woods. This is just a tiny, tiny piece of what we found today. In fact, I'm going to show you a picture of what this thing looked like when it was on the tree. You'll see that picture right here. The first thing you'll notice about this mushroom is the bright orange color. So literally what we do when we're foraging for chicken of the woods is walk through the forest looking for orange. Usually you'll find these things high up in trees, often 10, 20 feet off the ground. But if you only look up, you're going to be depriving yourself. This one we found on a stump that was about 6 to 8 inches off the ground. And then the second one we found today was on a tree, maybe 2 to 3 feet off the ground. So don't always look up. You will find them up there, but they're also close to the ground. If you look at the bottom of this, you'll see a nice smooth surface with very, very fine pores. But if you see this sort of shelved, layered appearance with the bright orange color and the yellow around the edges and yellow on the bottom, and it's on an oak tree, specifically an oak tree, and almost always white oak. I'm sorry if you guys heard that truck going by. They don't only grow on white oak, but usually they grow on white oak. So if you see this color, this shape on an oak tree, almost definitely you're looking at a chicken of the woods mushroom. So now that you know how to identify the chicken of the woods mushroom, what we're going to talk about now is how to make jerky. I know a lot of you think beef jerky, you think turkey jerky or whatever. You can also make jerky out of these mushrooms. The texture of these is very meaty. Some people say it's the texture of chicken. I think it's the texture of chicken if you took a boneless, skinless chicken breast and cooked it till it was about 300 degrees internal temperature. These things are not soft and chewy. So to make jerky, the first thing we're going to do is remove this base. This is very, very firm. And in fact, if we pick up this whole mushroom, you'll see this whole base is almost hard. Some people may eat this, I don't. So what we're going to do is we're going to check the tenderness, and it's tender back to about this ridge, so we're going to cut this off, and all of this will become our jerky, and this will become waste. Let's get into the kitchen and see what that looks like. So the first step in turning this mushroom into jerky is that we need to clean it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off by separating these layers. And clearly, they're not super easy to separate, but we're just doing the best we can. All of this is perfectly normal. Now that we've got them all separated, I'm just going to kind of brush some of this sediment and debris off. You don't really want to wash your mushrooms because they'll get mushy and waterlogged, but you want to brush off as much of the dirt as you can. Something like this that's very dirty, what I would likely do is use a brush to clean this off as best I can. And then this part I'm just going to discard. So we're gonna go through and clean all of this and we'll be back in just a minute. So after you get it cleaned, we're looking at something like this. Anywhere you see bugs on your mushroom, just cut it off. Some people eat that stuff. I don't. I'm not into it. So if you see bugs, just cut it off. The little discoloration, that's not going to hurt anything. I'll happily eat that. But what we're going to do now is we're going to take these and we're going to start cutting off the dense parts and turning the fleshy, soft parts into acceptable sized pieces for jerky. Something like this. So you'll see this is very dense. I don't want to eat that. So this is kind of what we're looking for. It's about a 1/4 inch thick. It's, you know, a decent bite. If you reached into a bag of beef jerky and pulled this out, I think you'd be happy with it. It will shrink a little bit, but not a ton. So I'm going to slice up this whole pile to look like this. So now that I've got these all cleaned and sliced up, they're not perfectly uniform, but they're pretty close. They're all right around a 1/4 inch thick. We're going to get these into a large bowl. I normally prefer glass, but I'm using steel right now because it's the largest bowl I have and I'm doing a large batch of this. The first thing I'm going to add is about 3 tablespoons of garlic. And the juice of 1 lime. Because we live in the area of GMO foods, this is a seedless lime, so we don't need to worry about the seeds. Right into the compost. Now I'm going to add about 1 tablespoon of coconut aminos. Think of this as sort of your teriyaki. And with this liquid amino, I'm going to add probably 1/4 cup of this. This is going to be the main carrier of the flavoring. Think of this as like soy sauce. I'm adding just a little tiny bit of Worcestershire sauce. You can use whatever brand you want. I like mine spicy, so we're adding sriracha. You can add this or leave it out or do whatever you want. And then some people use liquid smoke. I'm using smoke-flavored balsamic vinaigrette. That'll add some sweetness, some acidity, and some smokiness. My daughter got me this for my birthday. Now we're just going to mix this all up and we'll be back in a minute. We're also going to add just a couple tablespoons of rice wine vinegar. All right, now that we've got this all mixed up, it smells amazing. It's sort of smoky, sort of spicy, a little bit Asian-y. We're going to let this soak or macerate for about 12 hours, and then we'll get it into the dehydrator. I'll see you when it's done now. All right, these mushrooms have now been in the marinade for a little over 12 hours. You can see they've taken on really nice color. Still got the garlic in there, still got a little bit of juice. So, Kersey and Lee, all of this is for you. What we're gonna do now is lay this out on dehydrator sheets and throw it in the dehydrator. There you go, nothing fancy. Now let's get it in the dehydrator. Well, the dehydrator is already running because we've got mushrooms in there from yesterday. So we're just going to take the jerky, slide it in like this. Slide it in like this. Slide it in like this. And then the cover goes on like this. And we'll let it set overnight. See you when it's done. All right, everyone. Our mushrooms have been in the dehydrator for about 12 hours. We're going to take a look and see what's going on. This is some non-marinated mushroom. This is just the chicken of the woods. We dried these for about 12 hours each, and as you can see, we've got almost 4 quarts of it here. This is chicken fat and aborted entoloma, otherwise known as chicken of the woods. I'm sorry, shrimp of the woods. This started off as over a quart of mushrooms before we dried them. So you can see we lose a lot of volume when we dry them, but let's see what we've got going on in here. So this is our jerky. It's a little messed up right now, but you can see it's fully dry. I just dropped some. How wasteful of me. Let's taste it. Salty, smoky, crunchy, but not hard. Yeah, this is really good. So this is what we've got here. We started off with 3 trays, and this is what we're down to. Ooh, it's nice and spicy too. Because I made this as a gift, I'm just going to put it in a Ziploc. Think of me as you will. But what we're going to do is just take these dried pieces of mushroom and bag them up. So this is what we're ending up with. A little over a quart of finished jerky. I wish I could tell you it was the best jerky I've ever made, but it's not. It's got a nice smoky flavor. It's got some spice, but the garlic seems to have fallen off. Some of the more Asian flavors seem to have fallen off. But it tastes good, and it's preserved, and we have successfully made chicken of the woods jerky. All right. So we started this with somewhere in the neighborhood of 15 to 20 pounds of chicken of the woods mushrooms. We ended up with 4 quarts blanched and frozen. We ended up with 3 quarts of soup stock. We're ending up with 3.5 quarts of dried mushrooms, about 1.5 quarts of jerky. Plus I think that Greg still has some mushrooms that he's working on drying at home. So we're ending up with a lot of mushrooms here from one outing. I hope you guys have learned something from this. I hope you enjoyed the process. Mostly, I hope you get outside, try to find some chicken of the woods, and make your own stuff. These make great soups. They go great in stir fries. Just recently, I watched someone make chicken of the woods fajitas. So it's a super versatile mushroom. It's easy to eat. It tastes good. If you have any experience with chicken of the woods, or you have any questions about this process, leave a comment. Let us know what your experience is or what your questions are. If you found any value in this, please find a friend to share it with. My name is Blake with Northwinds Wilderness School. Thank you very much. Have a great day.